The Real Reason Jack Reacher is a Yankees fan in Prime Video series. Reacher Season 3, Episode 7, LA. Story reveals that Alan Ritchson's title character is a New York Yankees fan, but it takes a deeper dive into franchise lore to discover the reason why. Although he initially comes across as a wandering brute, Jack Reacher is a surprisingly layered character with a wide range of interests. His focus on the mission at hand often means there's little time for him to discuss these hobbies, but when he finds a spare moment to talk about them, it's always an enlightening moment. As the leader of the Reacher Season 3 cast, Ritchson's return has allowed him to flesh out his character even more. Although fans of Lee Child's Jack Reacher books will inevitably have greater insight into what makes the franchise's main character tick, those unfamiliar with the source material are discovering everything about Reacher through the Prime Video adaptation. Even before he served with the 110th Special Investigators, the towering anti-hero has a rich backstory that heavily informs his present-day antics. Reacher's love of the Yankees goes back to his childhood. The Amazon version of Reacher has already addressed that Ritchson's character moved around a lot in his youth due to his father serving in the military. Living on bases in foreign countries often meant he was cut off from a lot of American culture, including access to a wide array of sports broadcasts. However, the books explain that because the New York Yankees are one of MLB's biggest teams, their games can often be seen by international audiences. As such, Reacher grew up watching them, despite being overseas. Duffy, how do you know your way around Boston so well? Reacher, been to Fenway a few times. Duffy, Sox fan? Reacher, Yankees. Duffy, FCKU. Reacher and Susan Duffy Sonia Cassidy in Reacher Season 3, Episode 7. Story. Reacher moved around so much due to his father's military career that he ultimately isn't from anywhere. So while it may initially seem surprising that he has an allegiance to the Yankees over all the other MLB teams, the explanation from the books helps contextualize this character trait. Plus, it also further accounts for Reacher's time in the military himself when he grew up, plus his ongoing desire to continue wandering without a set home after retiring from the 110th. Ritchson's Reacher has already stated in the live-action adaptation that people often use things with which they're intimately familiar when coming up with aliases and code names. Part of the reason why he knows this is that he does it himself. When moving around the country, Reacher often creates temporary identities. He builds them from the names of Yankees players of the past and present, and they're usually second basemen. For a man who treasures his anonymity, this could arguably be a Reacher plot hole, but it doesn't really make him that much easier to locate. In the world of television, character choices are rarely accidental. From the clothes they wear to the music they love, every detail is deliberate, designed to reveal something deeper, more meaningful. For fans of Prime Video's Reacher, based on Lee Child's best-selling novels, one of those subtle but intriguing character details is Jack Reacher's allegiance to the New York Yankees. It may seem like a throwaway nod to Americana, but in reality, Reacher's fandom says far more about the man than meets the eye. So why is Jack Reacher, a drifter, a loner, and a former military cop, so devoted to the Yankees of all teams? The answer lies not just in baseball, but in identity, memory, and mythology. Let's dig into the real reason Jack Reacher is a Yankees fan in the Prime Video series and why it matters. The Yankee brand, a symbol of American myth. To understand Reacher's connection to the Yankees, we first need to understand what the team represents. The New York Yankees are more than just a baseball team, they're a cultural symbol. With 27 World Series championships, an iconic logo, and a legacy stretching back over a century, the Yankees represent excellence, dominance, tradition, and history. For better or worse, they're the embodiment of the American dream, the team you love if you believe in greatness, and love to hate if you believe in the underdog. Reacher, by nature, is a kind of walking American myth. He's a modern cowboy, a nomadic force of justice, imposing in stature and terrifying to bad guys. He doesn't carry a phone or a bag, but he carries an internal code of ethics sharper than any badge. Aligning Reacher with the Yankees taps into that same larger-than-life mythology. Just like the team, Reacher represents a kind of unstoppable, old-school dominance, making the Yankees the perfect fit for his character. A nod to his roots. Jack Reacher is famously rootless. Born in Berlin to a military family, he moved constantly as a child. In the books, it said he barely had time to form friendships before shipping off to a new base. He's a man without a home, without attachments, and that includes local sports allegiances. But the Yankees aren't a local team. They're a national team. Even people who've never been to New York wear Yankees caps. For someone like Reacher, who doesn't belong anywhere, rooting for the Yankees makes a kind of poetic sense. They're the team of the nationless American, a roaming symbol of home for those who don't have one. In the Prime Video series, we see glimpses of Reacher's past. These small flashbacks, paired with his choice in team, hint at how a boy constantly on the move might latch onto something consistent, something timeless. Maybe he saw Mickey Mantle on an old television. Maybe his father wore a Yankees cap. Maybe rooting for the Yankees was one of the only constants in a life full of uncertainty. A military man's team. Let's not forget that Reacher is an ex-military cop. He served for over a decade in the U.S. Army's Military Police Corps and rose to the rank of major. His mindset is steeped in order, discipline, and hierarchy. In many ways, the Yankees are the most military of the Major League Baseball teams. They've always had a clean-cut, buttoned-up image, famously forbidding long hair and beards under owner George Steinbrenner's rules. This no-nonsense aesthetic aligns with Reacher's own stripped-down personality. He doesn't do frills. He doesn't do chaos. He values structure. The Yankees' classic pinstripes and strict grooming policies are more than just style, they reflect a code, just like Reacher's own. Lee Child's influence and authorial intent. It's also worth noting that Reacher's affinity for the Yankees isn't unique to the Prime Video series, it's canon. In Lee Child's books, Reacher occasionally mentions the Yankees, often in passing, but always with a sense of respect. He knows the players. He knows the stats. He follows the team, even when he's sleeping in motels or eating breakfast at a diner in the middle of nowhere. Lee Child, the British-born author of the Reacher novels, has explained in interviews that he made Reacher a Yankees fan intentionally, not just because they're a famous team, but because it reflects Reacher's love of tradition and his need for something enduring in a transient life. In short, the Yankees are something Reacher can count on, even when everything else is in flux. The showrunners of the Prime Video adaptation, clearly fans of the books themselves, were smart to preserve that detail. It's one of those small but telling character moments that helps define Reacher without spelling everything out. The anti-underdog. There's something refreshingly bold about Reacher being a Yankees fan in a culture obsessed with underdogs. Most modern protagonists are scrappy outsiders, up against impossible odds. Reacher, by contrast, is the odds. He's physically overwhelming, intellectually sharp, and almost always one step ahead of the bad guys. He doesn't squeak by on luck or charm, he dominates. The Yankees, similarly, are rarely seen as underdogs. They're the juggernauts. The team with the money, the fame, the pressure to win. For someone like Reacher, who doesn't shy away from being the biggest and strongest in the room, the Yankees are a natural mirror.